Come on, let's take a little walk through the neighborhood and see who we meet. Oh, who are the people in your neighborhood? In your neighborhood, in your neighborhood. Say, who are the people in your neighborhood? The people that you meet each day.
So who are the people in our neighborhood? We've met an artist, and today we have another artist featured. This person is an acclaimed artist, award-winning artist, nationally known, and she is ever so humble. She would never say this about herself, but I thank her so very much for allowing us to get to know her just a little bit and to spotlight her artistry, her artwork. And her daughter, Sue, has been so kind. She's also helped me. She wasn't able to be here today, but she and I have been communicating.
Good.
And she's told some stories about you, Barb, that wait till you hear. So the excitement and anticipation of this day is here. Welcome, Barb Sorensen Rambut.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Sarah,
welcome.
So much. Thanks to all of you.
Did you know we had such a nationally known artist living amongst us? Did you? Scotty did, and this morning we had a little group time, and she's like, I thought she just lived down Oconomowoc and just a girl next door, and I find out she's award-winning and nationally known. So
I've been around a long time.
well, Barb, if I can just start from the beginning, do you mind if I start from the very beginning? Okay, so Barb was born in Milwaukee.
Wauwatosa.
And then you grew up in Wauwatosa, but
I was born, the hospital was in Milwaukee.
that's
but
right. I got to be accurate in my reporting. She was born in Milwaukee, but she grew up in Wauwatosa.
Oh, yeah.
Barbara is a mom of 4 and nana to 11 grandchildren. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yes. So, Barb, you also went to the University of Wisconsin.
Yes.
And did you know she did not study art?
I wanted to.
Yes.
My dad said, no, you've got to take something you can earn a living at.
So tell us what your degree is in.
Occupational therapy. Which
Occupation.
I had never heard of before, but my dad said, I'll do the research.
Mm-hmm.
And he did, and it turned out to be just tailor-made for me because it was such a good major.
Yes, and you were able to help others, and were you able to use your art?
Medical field too,
Right, at
but
the
it
time.
was using your artwork and teaching people how to do art.
So you were able
So
to
I
incorporate
loved
your
it.
artistry into your occupation.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. And also, you married your college sweetheart in Madison, correct?
I went, yes.
You married your college sweetheart.
I did.
That's right. That's
He
right.
was a lot older than I was, like 5.5 years, because he kept changing his major all the time because he was having such a good time.
In college?
Yes. So he was older. He was very tall and handsome guy. And
Yes. Yeah. Barb, you told me several times, Sarah, I've lived a fabulous, blessed life.
it was.
And do you want to touch on that?
Well, I couldn't have asked for a better life, really. I loved college. I loved Madison. My parents both graduated from Madison.
Mm-hmm.
And my brothers went there too. And it just was a terrific school and a great place. There weren't many, occupational therapy wasn't everywhere then.
Can I ask
But
a question? How early on in your childhood did you discover your bent or your giftedness for art? Can you recall a memory as a child?
My mother was very artistic. She was a home ec major. She made all of my clothes, and my dad in the beginning sold ice cream, and I loved to eat the ice cream.
Okay.
So it's lucky my mother could sew because she could make me look good in anything. And my parents said, "Oh, don't worry, you'll grow out of it." I never grew.
Were you
Out
the only child, or did you come from a big family?
I had two brothers,
Okay.
one older and one younger.
I see. You were the middle
So
child.
I was the middle child. And
So-
it was just such a happy life, and the piano teacher lived right across the street.
Barb, one childhood memory of you being an artist happened at your lake cabin home or in your bedroom. You did something to your bedroom walls.
you mean-
Tell the audience about.
Our house had wainscoting in it, when it was so dark. And so I copied all these pictures from my coloring book.
And she wallpapered her
And I
wall with the color.
wallpapered the walls with these pictures,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I colored. And it really brightened up the room beautifully.
Do you remember how old you were then? Or you were? It was at the cabin at
That
Upper
was
Bottom.
our cottage,
Yeah.
the cabin.
I would like to ask you to share another childhood story that.
The pony.
Yes. So tell them the story about Mike the pony.
Mike the pony. My nephew Mike never understood why I named the pony Mike. It's because I'd seen a horse movie, and this was a racehorse. It wasn't a pony, which is what I ended up winning. It was a sleek racehorse named Mike. And so that's why I just seen that movie, and I thought, oh, that's a good name for him,
So Barb owned a pony in Wauwatosa,
4th grade.
but I would like you to share how that pony came to be. How did you get the pony?
Well, I had to write in 25 words or less why I wanted a pony. I must have written the right thing because my mother said when I came home from school one day, I'd forgotten all about it. She said, "You won the pony." And I said, "Oh, I can't believe it." She said, "Well, you did, and you have to be on the stage of the Riverside Theater tonight at 8 o'clock or whatever intermission was, and we'll award you the pony."
Every child's dream is to win and own a pony, and she lived out that dream.
Yeah, it was really...
There was a small detail that I'd like to share, Barb. Her parents didn't want her to have that pony.
No.
And Barb had left the room, and her dad turned to your mom and said, "Oh, just let her pursue it. She will never win the contest." So her parent had whispered to one another, "Oh, just let her go at it. She'll never win the contest."
Yeah,
and lo and behold.
She said, "Let her in or she'll never win anyway." That's what my dad said.
And she ended up with the pony.
I did
Yeah.
win the pony.
And Sue, your daughter, shared this fun fact about the pony. Okay? Her horse is the reason that Wauwatosa has an ordinance against livestock in the city.
No more ponies allowed in
No more ponies.
No more ponies allowed in Wauwatosa.
That's right, all because of you.
Yes. So I'm famous for that.
So Barb, so the pony, you and the pony then moved out to this area. So after Tosa, your family moved out to the family cabin in Upper Nabobbin.
Yeah,
There was a little cabin.
We had a lake cottage. We only had to have the pony about a month and a half in town. And the first day I had the pony, there were 150 kids in our yard waiting for a ride.
Talk about being a popular kid in the neighborhood. You were. That is a funny story. Oh, what a great childhood memory. So
my nephew Mike wanted to know, "Aunt Barbara, why did you name your pony Mike?" And I said, well, I just saw a movie before that about it was a racehorse named Mike. So I said, that's the only name I could think of when they asked me, what do you want to name
That's a
your...
nice name for a pony.
Yeah.
Barb, about your cabin on the lake. About your cabin on the lake. It's still in your family.
It's still in the family.
So I brought this.
I don't have, that's the guest house, actually.
When I made the selection of the pieces of artwork to show today, I really want personal pieces that reflect Barb's life. And so this is the cabin on Upper Nabobbin that's in her family, and it's still in the family, correct?
Yeah, it's still there.
Okay, so tell us about this piece. When did you paint it, and what inspired you to paint this beautiful piece of this cozy little cabin?
That's actually a little guest house on the property.
Okay.
But the cabin is adorable, too. I don't have a painting of that, but...
This is the main house or the guest house?
No, the guest house. That's just a little guest house.
Okay, so there's another house attached to this that's bigger?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Not real big.
All right.
Still a cottage.
So when did you paint this? Do you remember how long ago? I don't have a date back here. Was that recent or?
Maybe 20 years ago.
20 years ago. So I'm going to prop this up. When we're done interviewing Barb, you're going to have a walkabout and you can walk around and take a look at some of these pieces. But that's a special, this is hung over her bed. And she let me snatch it off the wall. You're so kind. This is the cabin from Upper Nabobbin. And then this other piece, Barbara.
Oh, that's our...
Yeah.
This
goes together. Let's introduce this. Okay, so one of your greatest accomplishment as an artist, according to Sue and you, because we had this conversation, was your trip to Europe and this book, and it's titled?
Painting My Way Through Europe. Here I am on the back painting, but this is Switzerland. My mother's family came from Switzerland, and she and her brother both graduated from the University of Wisconsin. And that's the family home, the Habiger. The name was H-A-B-H. She always spelled it H-A-B-H, so you wouldn't start over again because it was H-A-B-H-E-G-G-E-R. That's how you spell it, she said. Otherwise, people start over again or it doesn't work. But anyway.
But isn't that a serene picture of, I mean, this, look at the wildflowers in the forefront of this,
that's
this
very
picture.
small.
And the house is kind of up on a rolling hill. It's just beautiful. I invite you to come up and take a look at this after her interview too. It's just, I pulled this off of her, the wall behind the couch. These are pieces that are near and dear to her.
Darling.
Renee probably wants to come in.
But this book, Painting My Way Through Europe, I'll pass it around because then my husband, Don, who was a geography professor, took us through this trip. And it was just the most fantastic. They're alphabetically listed, the countries. So we went all through Europe and traveled to all these countries in alphabetical order so I could have a way to...
What an experience. What an experience.
We'll pass it over. What fantastic.
Barb, if you had to pick one country that you traveled through, what was your favorite to paint?
It's so hard.
Yeah.
They're all... To me, they all have something charming, something to offer.
There's Norway.
And I'm telling you, that is the most wonderful trip.
That is beautiful. To me, there's countless pictures in here. I asked Barb earlier, or someone did, Nan did, ask, how long does it take you to paint a picture? And she has the cutest answer. She said, as long as it takes.
That's a good answer.
And I said, well, give us an idea. 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks? She goes,
oh, no.
Half an hour.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Who paints a beautiful, I mean, they're like lifelike pictures.
That would take forever.
To me, they're like a photograph almost. the depths and the texture, and it's just beautiful, the colors. And they are mostly watercolor, right, Barb?
All
watercolor. I chose
portable.
Barb, tell us about this one. Now, I have this up here because I can relate to this
That's
one.
Ireland. Have you been
I
there?
stood here. That's why I'm like, can we show this one? Does anybody recognize where this is? She said it's in Ireland.
It's called the Cliffs of Moher.
The Cliffs of Moher. It's very windy there. There's a picture of us standing there, and you couldn't see our face because our hair was sideways.
Oh, is it?
And then there's a spout coming up from the ocean. That's how windy. Was it windy when you painted this?
It was windy.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful spot in Ireland. There's a grouping of her European pictures scattered out throughout that you want to take a look at when you do your walkabout. Let's talk about Nana's Christmas cards.
Yeah, every year we had 11 grandchildren. And yeah, every year I painted a Christmas card of the children, and the family kept growing. And it was that's our house in Heartland.
I think I know that house.
On Narrow Road?
Yeah, that's not too far from where I live.
Really?
Yeah. I just looked at that now, but we'll talk later.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful farmhouse. I know that house.
I loved old farmhouses. And so every year I made Christmas cards when some of these are, like this is a black print of the two little girls when they were little. I used all different, I was an occupational therapist, so we did lots of art classes, like all kinds of media. This is black printing. And just look through it, but it's, later on it got to, this is a blueprint of our children. That's when we were Sorensen children. And it just keeps going. This is a black print. That's the year my daughter got her horse. So this is the I had 2 boys and 2 girls. So these are the 2 girls leading the horse, and this is silkscreen, which is another media that I learned in college. This is black printing. You can just look through it if you're interested.
I think what I appreciate about Barb's work is there's a personal story or personal side. Like one of her favorite pieces is of her husband, Dawn, and the 2 grandkids and their watercolor painting. Because when you think of artists, famous artists, I don't know them personally, so I don't know if they incorporate personal like family members in their paintings and things like that, and I see that about you. Your story tells your life. Your painting tells your life stories, and you put people that you know in it. So it's priceless, priceless.
This is interesting because it's just called celebrating 60 years of making Christmas cards. It all began at UW-Madison in December of 1957 when a group of friends decided we should stay behind at Christmas break and make our own Christmas cards. And so this is silk screening, I think. But I took all these different classes to become an occupational therapist. And so I took all these classes of different ways to make things.
Yeah.
And so that's where I got it out of my system. So
Yeah. So I know that there are some dear friends of Barb in the audience. So have any of you received a personalized Christmas card from Barb at all?
I don't know if anyone
So, Kathy?
would have.
Yeah.
Have you been privileged enough to receive one of Barbara's custom Christmas cards?
Everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, she.
Can you?
Kathy's on my-
Yeah.
Here's one I did of our house, Nail Wicker Road.
Yeah.
So it just was so much fun to do this every year.
That would be so exciting to know that each year you'll be receiving an original piece of art in the mail in the form of a Christmas card. How wonderful. And did you hear that she's been doing it for 60 years?
Yeah.
60 Christmases. Drawing out her own Christmas card, designing it and painting it, and sending it out in the mail.
Here's a picture of the family.
Wonderful.
Well, anyway.
We're going to have this book up here as well, and some of her Christmas cards have been put into print and they're framed, so I invite you to come up and take a look at
Well,
that.
they've all been
Yeah.
that way. And then anyway, the children's father, Jerry Sorensen, died very tragically in an auto accident. And just after our oldest daughter got married, which threw our whole family into a turmoil.
Mm.
So anyway, my first thought is, what am I going to do? I know, 4 kids, and then one of my friends was Carol D. Masters, who was the food editor at the Journal, and we were in a club together, and she knew my artwork, and she said, Barb, if you want to stay home so you don't have to go out and work, I've got a great job I'd love for you to take if you would. She said it would mean you'd have to present this food column. I wish I had it here now. This is it. I bet this is it. So she said every other month, or wait, every 2 weeks maybe it was, she said there would be a theme that they'd have for the journal and food article. So I'd have to do this every 2 weeks.
So you drew for the Journal, for the
Yes.
food article?
Yes.
I can't wait to
If you
look
wanna
through that.
Look through this, you can.
Yeah, let's set that out for everyone
So
to look through.
It was according to what the assignment was.
Yeah.
And it was a job where I could stay home and be with the kids. It wasn't disruptive
Nice.
to the family, where it would have been if I had
Right.
to go out and find a job.
Right. So we're going to enjoy looking through that. That's something I didn't know about you. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
you did
Just
that on the
another
side.
facet.
I know. Okay, and so I'm going to boast a little bit about you. Not only is she an accomplished artist, she's also a musical artist. And you know she is a creative writer because she won a pony from her 25-word article. So you're multi-talented. You're a visual artist, and then you are also, that's heavy, let me take that for you. And you are also a musical artist. And some of you already know that. She used to play with a little bit of heaven. But I'll save that for later because she has agreed to play a little song for you today on the ukulele. But before we go to that, did you know that Barbara was a synchronized swimmer? Yes, synchronized swimmer. She was very athletic. She also was a synchronized ice skater.
That was what
Yeah, did you hear the awe in the audience?
That's what I really love doing.
There. I have a picture. Your daughter Sue shared a photo of her synchronized ice skating team. That's her back there being very animated. So I was told that you downhill ski until up to 70 years old. So
Yeah.
you're very
Well,
talented, Barb.
And
very active.
Jerry, my first husband, was a fabulous skier downhill. He taught our whole family how to ski. And
Yeah.
he did such a good job of teaching us that the kids all ski now very well.
I think it would have been fun growing up in that
It
household.
was just fantastic.
Yes.
Between the cottage in the summer and
Yeah.
all this, so I did synchronized swimming and synchronized skating, which were,
Yeah.
and I was a Red Arrow girl, which I don't know.
Do you know what a red arrow girl is?
I do.
Oh, Leslie's chuckling back there.
You know of that?
Pardon?
You know about Red Arrow?
Yes, I do.
How do you know?
Leslie, why don't you
Mrs. Scowlin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That was the name of the teacher.
Yes.
Was
I
it
remember her and Besky.
was it in high was that high school?
Right.
Leslie, was that high school or grade school?
High school.
High school. Oconomowoc High School?
No, it was Tulsa.
Tulsa. Okay,
You
what a
have to
small
sign
world.
a pledge that you wouldn't smoke or
I was
drink.
not a member.
Oh, okay.
Well, they'd asked me to tell on my friends. I said,
Yeah.
if they smoked or drank, they're certainly not going to be dumb enough to smoke in front of me or drink in front of me. And I wouldn't ever tell on them anyway. They all knew that. So,
Barb, I have one more. That's the perk of putting this show together. I do get to make selection of the pieces I get to showcase. And I picked this one selfishly. This again this is a location called the Bark River. And if you're a local person here, you know where the Bark River is. The Bark River also runs through Upper Nabobin, so that's right in your backyard.
And Nagawicka Road,
Yes.
too.
And
I think it's called Nagawicka here. And
So I kayak up and down the Bark River. It's a very beautiful outdoor place to spend time with nature. So when I saw this, I thought, oh, we must show this one. This is the blue heron, right?
Yes.
And the lilies are abundance on the Bark River. So this is the Bark River. That's Brighton Barb's backyard in her cabin at Upper Nabobin.
That's actually our home on Nagawicka Road.
Oh, Nakawicka Road. Okay. Because the Bark River runs through there as well.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so I'll have this piece up here. And at this time, is it okay if I turn the table around and see if the audience might have a question or two for you?
Sure.
Does anybody have a question for Barb about her artwork or about her synchronized swimming?
I have a question.
Oh,
How did you get into synchronized swimming? How old were you when
The
you...
sports,
Yeah, the sport.
I always loved sports in high school, especially Tulsa, because they had this club called Red Arrow. You weren't allowed to smoke or drink or anything like that. And you had to have good grades and all the whole thing, and you had to do team sports and individual sports and a whole list of things, requirements to get into it.
It's amazing.
And it was a challenge and it was fun. I loved it. And
was Esther Williams your hero?
not really,
No.
but
She was the big Hollywood star, right? Esther Williams, the synchronized swimmer. Anybody else have a question? Oh, there's one back there. Go ahead, Leslie.
It's interesting that you talk about swimming because Wauwatosa High School did not have a pool.
I went to Hawthorne.
Yeah, to
junior
Hawthorne
high.
then. Yeah.
That's where I really did
Right.
most of it.
Yes, but there's a question from Ivy.
What about the story of the picture that everybody has?
That's right. Thank you so much. Okay, so the everyone who came will get a copy, a print of one of Barb's drawing or painting. So if you didn't get one, Ivy will make sure, or I will make sure you get one. Barbara, tell them what inspired this painting. Where was this?
Gosh.
What was?
It was just a painting, a scene of sheep that I loved.
In Wisconsin?
In Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin. I didn't know if you did it in Ireland
I was
or.
close to home.
Okay. Okay.
And so I just was inspired to do that. And then someone saw this painting from the Sheep and Wool Festival and asked if they could print it on the shirt for their upcoming convention or whatever it was. And I said, sure, that would be fine. So
Yeah.
for that, they printed that for me just as a
gift. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I thought they looked so peaceful, and I loved them, and that was a story.
Yeah, and you all get to go home with a copy of that. Thank you for the gifts, Barbara.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we love having you.
Brag about it.
We like to brag about our residents.
It sure has made my life fun, traveling. And Don, was such a wonderful person. Here we are in the front. And he was so kind and wonderful, and the kids loved him, and we always had packed trips of people that wanted to go with us to Europe.
Well, it sounds like you did.
So this is where we went, all these countries. And it's in alphabetical order in case you're interested.
Anybody else have a question for Barb before we close up this session, and then we'll have some refreshment? That's right. I promise. Thank you, Kathy. We promise you a song with her ukulele. She plays the piano, the ukulele, and what else?
Banjo.
The banjo.
And the accordion.
And the accordion. What else doesn't she not do? All right, here we'll close with this song. Barb's artwork was recently featured across the street in the Founders Gallery, and I just had to ask her if we could bring it over because some of our folks can't get over there, and I'm so glad this happened.
Well, I'm so
because
happy
now
to
these
do
folks
this.
get to enjoy your beautiful artistry. So I
Thank
just
you
can't
so
thank you
much.
enough.
Ain't she sweet? See her coming down the street. Now I ask you very confidentially. Ain't she sweet? Oh, ain't she nice? Look her over once or twice. I'm asking you very confidentially. Ain't she nice? Just ask an eye in her direction. Oh, me, oh, my. Ain't that perfection? I repeat, don't think she's kind of neat. And I ask you very confidentially, ain't she sweet? There she is, there she is. That's what keeps you up at night. Oh gee whiz, you can't even eat a bite. Those flaming eyes.